Good evening, scholars, and welcome back to the Restricted Collection, a podcast about tabletop games. I'm your host, the Head Librarian Chad, and this evening, this entry is related to Arkham Horror, specifically AH.100. I came to the realization, as I was editing a couple of episodes, hey wait, I'm really close to have done 100 Arkham Horror related episodes. Now, I understand that the manner in which I denote things on the podcast is kind of weird sometimes, where I've had tons and tons of Let's Play episodes. Well, those don't count for the Arkham Horror episodes. I know it's kind of weird, but for in my mind, what have been Arkham Horror discussion episodes, this will be the 100th one. And I'm just like, okay, that happened fast. It was only just yesterday. I actually had this realization recently as well. It feels like only so long ago that I did AH.52, where we talked about some of the Beard's Arkham Irregular cards. Now, I fully acknowledge that there have been a lot of episodes recently, and by recently I mean over the past year, that are just fan-made content reviews. That's a good 3 or 4 episodes per set. I know there's been a lot of Arkham Horror official content because of the Chapter 2 stuff. That's going to be a lot of episodes. So, I don't know, it just kind of snuck up on me, if I'm being completely honest. So what are we going to talk about tonight? I still don't have the giant project that I wanted done. I'm still really stupid excited to finally get that off the ground and in the air, but that still isn't happening, and I don't want that to be launched prematurely. So not that. We're not talking about that. I continue to try not to be a tease, and I'm sorry. So instead, what I'd like to do tonight is discuss the convention ArkhamCon 26, the Scarlet Con. But Chad, that's still like 3 months away. Well, it's slightly less than 3 months away, and due to my timeline of things, I've been spending a lot of time on this. So why not talk about it for my own hype, for me to kind of talk about some of the stuff going on in the background, and to also kind of dive into one crazy party, which will be the last thing I talk about, because I want people to have the opportunity to leave before that. So if you go to arkhamcon.org/schedule, you will find the schedule. The schedule, if you've been to ArkhamCon in the past, is much like it has been in the past. And I guess I should note, we have a couple of new events that I'll briefly mention as I go through the schedule, and then we're also hoping to have signups for events before actually attending. So people who aren't going to be there on Friday or until Friday or say Saturday, you will have the opportunity to sign up for events ahead of time and not be at the mercy of everybody rushing the events table first thing on Thursday. So that's kind of the hope that we have. We've got a plan for that. So day number 1, Thursday, October 22nd, will be. The days this year are labeled as time past 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, and then 4 day. Or 4 days, I should say. Plurality is a thing. So that Thursday, the convention is going to open at 10 a.m., and from 10 a.m. to 10:30 is going to be the initial check-in. Then at 10:30 to 1:30, we're having what, in my mind, is the morning slot. Then at 2 to 5 will be the afternoon slot. Those are both 3 hours with a half an hour in between. And then from 5:30 to 8:15, just slightly less than 3 hours, there will be the epic multiplayer for that day. And then there'll be the evening activity. That's how Thursday and Friday will both work. So let's start with the morning and afternoon stuff. So those are just labeled as limited table multiplayer and structured gaming. This is much like last year, where we will have a number of tables that are ready for people to sign up and do things for, as well as just, it's pretty much the epic multiplayer stuff. But this year we're trying to expand it a little bit. So like in the past, if you want to play Labyrinth with 3 tables and get the epic multiplayer experience, same thing with Machinations. If you want to get the epic multiplayer experience for that, we'll have 5 tables of Gala that you can sign up for, Midwinter Gala to be clear, and then 3 tables of Cosmic Pantheon. Those are the limited table epic multiplayer tables. I'm always happy to have these because they're not ones. I mean, you can play Gala by yourself, but it's not the same. You can play Labyrinth by yourself, but it's not the same. So it's even for people who've played it before, it's still fun to come back to and be like, "Oh yeah, let's play Machinations this year. I haven't played as Past yet, so let's play Past." And, making that happen. Last year we had a table for the Head Librarians Challenge, which is one crazy party. We'll have a table for that again this year. And last year we had a table for Barkham. So Barkham Horror is, for those of you who don't know, is Arkham Horror, but dog-themed. And you play the scenario, The Meddling of Meowlahotep. I didn't want to have anybody put their copy at risk. So last year, even though there were people who were willing to be like, "Yeah, we can use my copy," I just printed it out on paper and cut it up, and it wasn't pretty, but it worked. Subsequently, I have acquired a fan printed, so not officially printed, but a fan printed copy of Barkham that you can tell looking at it, like, the coloring is not quite right. The card quality is, 80-90% there, but it's not quite right. But for the purposes and the fact that it's sleeved, it's perfect. So if it gets damaged or anything, I don't feel bad about somebody losing what is, last I checked, like a $300 scenario. So happy to have that there. And then the co-chair, I'm co-chairing events this year. The co-chair, Erica, she will be bringing her, much like last year, her Barkham token. She has a whole set of tokens. It's so cute. She has a whole set of tokens that are all Barkham horror themed with like paws and whatnot. And then she has little like sheets for playmats that have paw slots and like accessories. Like it's all the iconography is just slightly modified to make it work for Barkham, and it's just so cute. So we'll have those just like last year. This year, something that we're doing new is we're going to have a couple of tables for developer challenges. So for those of you who've recently listened to my playthroughs with Marie and Parallel Skids, there are a handful of developer challenge scenarios, and we will have 2 tables of those for both days, for both time slots, and we'll have 2 different scenarios for challenges on Thursday and then 2 different scenarios on Friday. Then we're trying something a little new this year that I hope people will appreciate and latch onto. So as we've always done with the library, you can always just borrow whatever you want to borrow, but if you want to play through like an actual campaign, what does that look like? Well, we are going to have 2 tables for Dream Eaters. So we'll have a Dream Eater's waking side and a Dream Eater's dreaming side. And the thought being is like, okay, each table's only playing 4 scenarios. And if you play Thursday morning and afternoon, and then Friday morning and afternoon, that's 4 scenarios worth of time that the tables can basically work on together. So for anybody who hasn't played Dream Eaters or wants to play Dream Eaters with another table making its own decisions, we have that set up for if you want that type of structure, people can sign up for that, but that will be your Thursday morning, afternoon, and then Friday morning and afternoon. But you're signing up for, a whole mini campaign. And then on the subject of whole mini campaigns, we're going to have 2 tables, one for the Heart of Darkness fan-made campaign, which is 3 scenarios long, and then one for the Jumanji fan-made campaign, which is 4 scenarios long. I actually went and grabbed from my parents' basement. They have a copy of Jumanji from, back when the movie first came out in the 90s, and I pulled it out, and I'm like, yeah, this actually might be like a nice play mat, sort of like using the board as like a play mat and using the pawns that come with the game as the player markers. And then there's like a little rhinoceros piece that you can use as the first player marker. The only problem is in the center of the board where the like smoking glass reading out the little rhymes out of would be, I had to take that out because it's in the middle of the board and it's big and it's obnoxious. So I took a piece of cardboard and printed out a Jumanji, like the Jumanji glass thing on it to like give the illusion of it. And I, made sure that it was fairly flush with the board. So if the people who want to play Jumanji, which I'm hoping people take us up on this, I don't know how interested people will be in doing a mini campaign, but we're offering it, and we'll, I hope people are interested in this. I know it's a little harder to do a pickup and move around and whatnot when you sign up for, oh, I'm filling up this whole block with playing, but I'm hoping people will latch on to, oh yeah, I would really like to actually try that campaign and finish it. Oh, I'd really like to play Dream Eaters, but only half of it while the other table is playing the other half right across from us. I'm hoping people like that. Also, I guess I should mention this year, we have some of the private rooms that we are currently reserving for quieter rooms. So if there are people who, whatever reason, it's too loud one day or, fighting a headache, hey, we got a couple of tables. It's not a whole lot, but we have a couple of tables on some side rooms for people to play there if they would prefer. All right, going back to the schedule, that really covers, the limited table multiplayer and structured gaming. As always, if you don't want to do any of this, don't. The library will be open and free for people to borrow whatever you want to from it. I should mention, I will have 3 copies of The Blob, if anybody wants to use any of those, either during the Blob Epic Multiplayer, or if you just want to play Blob on your own, be my guest. Same thing with the Win the World screen from last year's ArkhamCon. That will be available in either a single table format, or if you want to play in a multi-table format, you can do either. I'll have it set up either way. Okay, so Thursday evening, the Epic Multiplayer continues to be the Charity Blob. Charity Blob is run by just a really nice guy whose name I forget, but I know he goes by Thoth on Discord. So it's run by Thoth. And the rules change year to year, but it's always the same thing. You can donate to charity to get a bonus. The bonuses have changed again year from year, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. But, like one year it was a very simple, if you don't like the token you drew, spend $10, or not spend, but donate $10 and, get a reroll or something like that. And then there was one year where it was just straight up for every $10 or $20, you just generate a countermeasure. I keep saying spend. I keep meaning not spend. I mean donate, because it is a charity event. So it's not, you know what I mean. I'm just misspeaking. So I'm not sure what the rules are exactly going to be this year, but I also know that Thoth makes the blob harder. It's not just a cakewalk. The blob is made harder due to the fact that you get some you get to bend the scale in your favor, but it's always fun. Even the times where it does feel really easy, it's really fun because it's just so jovial. It's the people are always in a good mood. It feels good to give to charity. It's always nice to hear the numbers at the end of how much was donated. It's just fun to see the countermeasure. We had like 150 countermeasures that were left over at the end of that, in that particular instance, where you could donate for countermeasures. A bunch of people donated, but there's 1 or 2 people in particular who donated a whole bunch. And just to play the blob when you have nigh unlimited countermeasures is hilarious. So that's the Thursday evening Epic Multiplayer. And then 8:30 to 10 o'clock, when the con closes, there will be the Arkham Pub Trivia, which went really well from what I heard last year. I did not stick around for pub trivia, not that I wasn't interested, but for my own pacing of myself and my mental energy, the restricted collection, people don't borrow things from it when it's, 2 hours or fewer till closing because you don't know if you're gonna finish your scenario that night or not. So it's just like, okay, nobody's borrowing things from the library. I'm gonna go home and just get some sleep and make sure my dogs are cool. So, but that said, I did give out last year as part of the prizes, I did make contrabands because it was, pub trivia. I did give out contrabands that were Malort themed. Those were part of the prizes that were available, and I was real happy with how those turned out. Okay, Friday is much the same, opens at 10. We've got the morning and afternoon limited table multiplayer and structured gaming. Great. Those are exactly as I've already described to you. And then there is the evening slot where the evening epic multiplayer is an ArkhamCon showcase event to be revealed soon. I could be a jerk and tease things that I know about it, but I'm just going to leave that for the marketing team because that's their job and I don't want to say anything out of turn. So just know that I've played it. It's fun. I'm excited for people to see what's been cooking. And then typically after that, we will, much like last year, we will have dev signings and a dev panel. And the Mythos Busters are going to be recording the dev panel and posting that after the fact for anybody who cannot make it to the convention. Once again, the con closes at 10. Then we got Saturday, which is Iron Man Day. Nick and I recently recorded an episode discussing the Iron Man information. I would once again encourage anybody who's interested, even if you're not attending ArkhamCon in person, if you would like to play the Iron Man that day, there will be an online portion where you can, chat in the Discords about that. I'm also happy to mail out any trophies as long as, reach out to me, let me know. I'm not psychic. I can't just sense when someone has done the Iron Man and know their address to just mail it to them. That would be a cool power, a very creepy power, but it would be a cool power. And then there will be some games scheduled for those who are not Iron Manning. I have sometimes jokingly referred to myself as the shepherd of the non-Ferris people. Yeah, I'll be offering, the library will be open for whoever's not playing the Iron Man. I will say, I do encourage people to play the Iron Man. I want to be clear about this. I'm not trying to detract from that at all, but I will note that every year there's just a few more people who don't Iron Man. So if you're not an Iron Man person, don't worry. There's going to be enough people to, make up some pickup games, have, some structured events. I'm planning on running my Head Librarian's Challenge again for anybody who wants to try it then. And then the con will close at midnight. I think that's later than we did last year. Maybe we were able to convince them to stay open a little bit longer. And then day 4, as usual, is going to be the open gaming, or as the Mythos Busters would always call it, Dead CCG Day. I'll have the library there. People are welcome to borrow whatever they want from it. If people want to play Head Librarian's Challenge who hadn't, I'll have it for people who want to borrow it. And the con will close. It starts at 10, closes at 4. It's a Sunday, and they have limited hours. So, what has my time and energy been being put towards? Well, did you know that right now at Target, folders are 50 cents? I went and bought a whole bunch of folders. And so, if you're going to be playing any of the events, I have a folder with all of the rules that you need. And then the con team has made these absolutely wonderful setup pages. So it's like, here's the setup page for Cosmic Pantheon in color, and it shows you exactly how to make the bag. And if you flip the page, it shows you exactly what special rules are. And then I've included a printout of the full rules in case you want to look over it, stuff like that. I've got the setup for it. Also things I appreciate. For the Machinations Through Time set, it's not just a generic setup that's copied 3 times. No, if you are at the past table, you will get the past folder, which will have the setup for the past table, and then tell you what objectives you should care about as being on the past table and things that you should keep in mind as you play. And same thing for the present and future. And I really appreciate and love that. Also, I'm pretty sure I've made this joke before. I will continue to make this joke because it makes me smile. The past table is color-coded. I mean, cards and the folder are sleeved in red and the folder is red. Present is in white and future is in blue. It's a light joke because that makes me smile, as silly as it is. All the gala tables similarly color coded. They're not the setup pages are all the same, but they're clear about, it should be your factions even if it's not the factions printed. But Erica, once again, above and beyond for when it comes to theming things, has an entire, here's the story for the Foundation, here's the story for Miskatonic University, that it's just right there, so you don't necessarily have to reference the rules. So you can have your specific theming for whichever faction you are aligned with. So all those are ready to go. Ideally this year, a problem that I've had in the past is that I've spent a lot of time organizing and monitoring and facilitating, which I don't mind doing, don't get me wrong. This year I'm hoping to do a little bit more playing. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so that covers what currently the things look like for the convention. I'm excited. I have been putting, just, polishing things off. I'm getting my promos together for that, which I'm excited about. I know I had an episode, I think a couple months ago, where I was like, oh, here's all the projects I'm working on. And I know this is somewhat a repeat of that, but I'm excited for how this is coming together, and I hope other people are too. So we're going to talk about the Head Librarian's Challenge now. I will talk about it in a very broad sense, and then I will dig in a little bit deeper. But the thing I wanted to say before I get into any of this is, if you would like to try to play the Head Librarian's Challenge, I would recommend that you know as little as possible. That said, because I am excited and have put more time than I care to admit into this, I do want to talk about it. So it's silly, it's stupid, it's ridiculous, and people seem to have a lot of fun with it. And if it turns out well, I'm planning on having it posted online for people anywhere to enjoy as they see fit. The Head Librarian's Challenge, which is more officially, the Head Librarian's Challenge is kind of the banner that it is under originally, but as I worked on it, it became One Crazy Party. So I'll read you the special setup card for One Crazy Party to give you an idea of what you are stepping into. So this scenario is a push your luck scenario where you are competing to get the most points before you either lose the scenario or resign. You get points from clearing VIP cards and getting clues from bystanders. Instead of having bystanders become enemies, as they do in... That is a typo I need to fix. See, I'm glad I'm doing this. I'm learning things. As they do in Carcosa, every agenda cycle you will instead spawn a new VIP following its setup instructions. You get points for clearing them according to their instructions, and then clear as many as you can. So this is a challenge version of Return to the Last King. The Last King is the scenario from Carcosa where you are going to Constance's party and having to chat up all of the bystanders. It uses Return to the Last King specifically because it just gunks up the system a little bit more, and also because of delusory evils. There is no reason I can think of that you couldn't just play this with the Last King. You would just need to, remember that the ancient evils need to be delusory evils, and that will be important in a minute. So set up the Return to the Last King using the standalone rules with the following changes. I give you a bag. It's a pretty standard bag, except for I gave you 2 cultists, 2 tablets, and 2 elder things, just so you had, a good variety of everything. Do not gather the stranger encounter cards, and no investigator's deck includes the man with the pallid mask. He's not showing up. He had other plans and could not show up. And then the last setup instruction on the general card is draw the Azathoth VIP card and follow its setup instructions. We're going to ignore that for now and instead go to the back side of this card. So the way that I have this all organized is each card for rules text has a immediate setup card and then a during play side that just has any rules that are relevant during play. That way you don't have to keep flipping between the two of them. We draw Azathoth. Here's everything we do when Azathoth spawns in. Flip it over. Here's everything we need to know while Azathoth is in play. I tried to keep it very straightforward. So, during play general rules. All possessed enemies, or if you have super old Carcosa, all lunatic enemies, gain the cultist trait and vice versa. This is relevant for certain effects, but it's just a general blanket. All the bystander assets that you normally would schmooze up, get all the clues off of, and flip over, have infinite clues on them. You will never clear them. Sorry. Instead of spawning Diane Divine or drawing a Sickening Reality card, which is how you get bad things normally in this scenario, instead you will draw a random VIP card and follow its setup instructions. So the bystanders are never going to change. The bystanders are never going to flip. They're just there for clues. You just need to go schmooze them up. So one thing that I learned, so this is 2.0, One Crazy Party 2.0. One thing I learned from 1.0 is that because the Last King has so few clues, they're all on people, really, except for a couple that are in the foyer. I have a new rule where each location has a clue value of 1 per investigator clues, which are replenished whenever you draw a VIP card. So you can clear off you can clear off locations and they'll refresh. They'll refresh whenever you draw a new VIP, but you can always talk to the bystanders. Now, why does that matter? Because you will eventually be being graded on how many clues you have. And so previously it was like, oh yeah, just go talk to the bystanders. That's how you get like your standard points is just from getting clues. Well, I learned last year that one that had a couple of mechanical hitches that I didn't fully account for. And thank you again to everyone who played first edition or first 1.0 and helped me work out some of these kinks. But the other problem was there were people who would come to it with like, oh, this is my Kluver deck, and their Kluver deck just does nothing. Not standardly does anything. Like they found ways to do things, but it just took the wind out of their sails. So I'm like, okay, I still want clues off of people to be your most consistent source of clues. But sure, every location gets 1 per investigator clues. That smooths out a couple of things on my back end. This smooths out a couple of things on the investigator end. It's just good. Once a VIP is cleared, you'll remove the VIP and all associated cards. So when a VIP enters play, and I'll read one to give an idea of what it is. When a VIP enters play, it could bring along with it act or agenda cards, other enemy cards that get shuffled into the deck, treachery cards that get shuffled into the encounter deck, new locations, potentially story assets, whatever. But when a VIP is cleared, everything that is associated with that VIP is removed from the game immediately. This is something that I made sure I had to work on the language of this. It seems so simple. Locations gain the text boxes and traits of locations attached to them. So something that could happen is a location could be instructed to attach to another location. And it's like, okay, I don't care about the clue value. I don't care about the shroud value. I'm just grabbing this location for its text box. So effectively, if I attach a location to a location, the location that already existed just gets the text box of the attached location, keeps it simple, and keeps the rules on the cards, like the cards in play. Additional acts and agendas will enter play, as I already said. These are separate act and agenda decks, and do not add doom to any agendas put into play buy a VIP card. They're there for their rules or their text or their objectives, not for their Doom collection. And then at the very bottom of this list of rules, in bold, I say generally, the goal is for things to work like you think they do / should. So there is a little bit of grace that I am requesting of the people playing this to be like, hey, this is going to be a mess. Just trust me that this is fun. And hey, maybe if something doesn't feel right, rule it as you need to make it work, but it should work. Everything should work. I think I got I'm not going to say I got all the kinks ironed out. There's so many things that could go terribly that I could have missed. I think I've got most things covered. It should run pretty smoothly, but I fully expect that I might have to do another Band-Aid ruling this year. So that's kind of what you're stepping into. So let's take a look at Azathoth, who is technically a VIP card, but you can't clear him. So Azathoth is previously in 1.0, Azathoth would be the first VIP to show up. And the thing that I learned about that was it kind of made the game a little slow to start. So I'm just having Azathoth be in play from the beginning because it just it's a challenge scenario. Let's kick it in a little higher gear faster. So here is the flavor text. The flavor text, I need to say, is stupid. The flavor text on everything is stupid. And it has a stupid sense of humor, and I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. So, Azathoth setup, VIP. The Demon Sultan arrives! Well, I mean, Azathoth was already here, will always be here, was here before, and will be here after. But you know what I mean. The blind idiot god is here to get blind idiot drunk. If that gives you a sense of what you're getting into. Setup, spawn Azathoth at the Black Throne, parentheses, aka place by the act and agenda. Step number 2, shuffle Ultimate Chaos ×3 and the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. So that's a pretty standard instruction for whenever a VIP enters play, is I can't think of anybody who doesn't have encounter cards that will get shuffled into the encounter deck, but when they come in, whatever encounter cards that get shuffled into the deck, you just take the discard pile, their new cards, shuffle it in, put it in, and then Ultimate Chaos is from the Black Throne scenario that Azathoth is from. And it interacts with Azathoth, because of course it does. And then the last instruction on any VIP card will be, flip this card. So Azathoth during play. Additional rules. Doom on Azathoth does not count towards the Doom threshold. This is important because if you, I guess, spoiler alert for the Black Throne from the Circle Undone campaign, but Doom goes on Azathoth. Doom on Azathoth does count against the threshold in that scenario, but not here. And if Azathoth hits 10 Doom, he wakes up and devours everything. Don't do that. Don't wake Azzy. But here, Doom on Azathoth does not count towards the Doom threshold. If Azathoth reaches 10 Doom, all investigators are devoured because Azathoth woke up. Each time Agenda 2 advances, which is where you would normally be drawing a Sickening Reality card, add 1 Doom to Azathoth. So Azathoth becomes an overarching timer. And then this is perhaps my favorite rule for making Azathoth work as the timer here. Delusory Evils adds Doom to Azathoth instead of the agenda. So Delusory Evils is the Ancient Evils counterpart alternative set for Return to Path Carcosa. It is a hidden card. You draw it and you either choose to add 1 Doom to the current agenda and it can cause the agenda to advance, or you secretly add it to your hand and, forced when you would succeed a skill test by 3 or more, reveal Delusory Evils and that check fails instead. And the thing that you can, Delusory Evils is only just encroaching at Doom on Azathoth. It's just making the overarching timer go faster. And something that I would encourage people to consider is last year, I don't think anybody added Doom to Azathoth, but the time limit for this is 3 hours. So If Azathoth is at 9 Doom, it's just as the same as if Azathoth was at 2 Doom. It doesn't matter how much Doom Azathoth is at, as long as it's not 10. So I think the highest anyone got on Azathoth last year was like 7, maybe? So I would encourage people to consider adding Doom to Azathoth, because you do have a little bit of playroom that I have specifically put there for Delusory Evils. It could bite you in the butt, but that's your problem, not mine. So, continuing on, so for VIP cards, you have the setups, you flip it over, there's additional rules, and then it will have the clear condition. However, Azathoth does not have a clear condition. Azathoth is eternal, as is its appetite. However, Azathoth is scoring how well you party, and scores you as follows when the game ends. You get +1 point for every set of 1 per investigator clues on Act 1A Discovering the Truth. So if you remember from The Last King, there's only one act. It is Act 1A Discovering the Truth. And when you resign or are defeated, all of your clues go on to Act 1A Discovering the Truth. That's part of the text of Act 1A Discovering the Truth. So you just need to get as many clues as you can and resign, or time out, or die. Preferably not die, because you do get -1 point for each defeated investigator, which means if you do let Azathoth devour everybody, that is -4 points. So maybe don't do that. So that's Azathoth. And to give you an idea of what a regular, I say regular, I'm going to put regular in quotes, because they're all different. They're all whatever. But I have taken an aspect of every single official campaign and a good number of the side scenarios, like the official standalone scenarios, and have made a VIP card out of them. Some of them are bosses that you just have to beat. Some of them are puzzles that I have just ripped out of campaigns and have somehow, like, rigged to work into this weird little scenario here. So if you are happy with what you have heard from me right now, for you don't want to know any more information, then be my guest and stop. However, if you would like a single example of a boss VIP and a single example of a more puzzle VIP, I will read 2 out that I am happy with. I like both of these, and I don't feel like they're not the craziest things that could happen. I can't tell you what's going to happen when you play, because it's random. There are 18 different VIPs that could show up. So, and every 3 rounds you get a new one. So, just roll with the punches. So the boss one that I will talk about is Umordhoth. The Devourer below arrives. From the Chapter 1 core set to now, Umordhoth is here to crash the party. That'll teach Constance not to send out an invitation. Spawn Umordhoth at the foyer. Just straight up spawn Umordhoth at the foyer, because he arrived. Shuffle Umordhoth's Wrath ×2 and the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. As I said, shows up, shuffle something into the deck along with the discard pile. Put Agenda Act the Devourer below into play, ignoring its revelation effect. Then flip this card. So, Devourer below would advance when you defeat Umordhoth. Okay. So that's why it's there. It's giving you your objective of, like, how do you beat Umordhoth, or how do we clear him? We advance. Okay. So additional rules. The action on Umordhoth instead reads, and for the friendly reminder for everyone, normally what you do if you want to not have to fight Umordhoth is chuck Lita Chantler at it. Okay. You could just beat it up. And here, just like that, you could just beat it up. But the action on Umordhoth instead reads, action either investigators as a group remove from the game 1 per investigator ally assets from play or from hand. So that's the first option. Or one investigator at Umordhoth's location throws themselves into Umordhoth's being. Parentheses, that investigator is defeated. Then defeat Umordhoth. So you can beat it up, just like always. You could throw one per investigator ally assets from play or hand, collectively. Or someone could sacrifice themselves to Umordhoth. And last year, somebody did. And it was great. But Chad, you say, devouring loses you points. Well, I accounted for that. So when clear condition, when agenda act, the devour below would advance. Instead, clear this VIP. So as I said, when you clear the VIP, you take everything. You take that VIP and all associated cards out from play. When cleared, place 2 per investigator clues on Act 1A, discovering the truth. So I've tried to balance every VIP to be worth 2 points. Okay. However, if an investigator threw themselves into Umordhoth, place an additional 2 per investigator clues on Act 1A, discovering the truth. So if you sacrifice yourself to Umordhoth, it is net worth a bonus point. Even after you've sacrificed yourself, which I think is pretty funny. And then the flavor text at the bottom of the play side is, it's silly. I'll always miss old what's their name, gone but not forgotten. Because it's stupid. All right. And then the more puzzly example is very appropriately the puzzle box from the Circle Undone. Yeah. I made that work. Great, now someone made this an escape room party? I just wanted to hang out and chat, but now I'm being roped in by this Nathan guy and his friends who want to make a big show of it. Setup, spawn Nathan Wick, Master of Indoctrination, and August Lindquist at different locations without investigators. Attach puzzle box to Nathan Wick and put a random key on August Lindquist. Yeah, that's right. We're playing with keys now. Because I said so. Shuffle Cell Keeper, Lodge Jailer, Mark of the Order ×2, Expulsion ×2, and the Encounter discard pile into the Encounter deck. Put Act 3A, the 4 keys, into play. So the 4 keys act is the one where investigators at the same location must control the puzzle box and all 4 keys. Step number 4, the lead investigator gains control of one random set-aside key, put the other 2 keys into play. And the keys are a skull, a cultist, a tablet, an elder thing, then flip this card. Additional rules, when Nathan Wick is added to the victory display, an investigator at his location gains control of the puzzle box. Normally, that would be from the back of an act this is from the Greater Good mission. Normally it would be from the back of an act where it says, oh, when Nathan Wick leaves play, you advance, flip it over, and investigator gets control of the puzzle box. That's just right here. The dining room and gallery gain the Sanctum trait. That is important because some of the enemies that I just shuffled into the deck only can spawn at Sanctum locations, and those are the ones that have keys on them when they spawn in. So you'll have to wait around a little bit for them to spawn through and get the keys off of them. Clear condition. When Act 3A, the 4 keys would advance. Instead, clear this VIP. When cleared, place 2 per investigator clues on Act 1A, discovering the truth. If both the Cell Keeper and the Lodge Jailer are in play, place an additional 2 per investigator clues on Act 1A, discovering the truth. That might be too good. I might need to drop that down to 1. But the idea there being is that the Lodge Jailer and the Cell Keeper are cultists who can get doom on them, which can make your life harder, but you can just get the keys off of them without beating them up, just like in For the Greater Good. So I'm trying to incentivize you to not beat them up. And then the flavor text at the bottom is, of course, it took someone quarterbacking this whole process to finally get this farce over with. And those are 4 of the currently 20 cards that I have put together for this silly, stupid challenge. And before I get too far along, thank you very much to the con team for everyone who's looked this over and provided me feedback and told me where I missed an Oxford comma or made a typo here or didn't account for a rule there. This has been a chaotic mess to put together, but it's been a lot of fun. So I'm excited to have this at the convention for people. I'm excited to hopefully have this in a place where I can actually, have it for print and play for people to enjoy at home because I guess I should have specified this way back. If there is something that you haven't played, like let's say you've never played Circle Undone, that's fine. If you draw a puzzle box and you don't, if you never, and you've never played it, just draw a different one. There's enough of them, and you're not going to get through all of them in a single playthrough of this challenge. So just pick a different one instead. If you are playing this at home and you don't have Circle Undone, then just don't play with that one and play with one of the other ones. But I should note that you will need a decent sized collection to get the most out of this. Otherwise, you're just kind of walking around picking up clues all the time, which is a perfectly legitimate strategy, might I add. But the chaotic fun of this is when you sit there and go, hey, wait, I didn't realize that blank could happen. And now you're scrambling to figure out how to deal with blank. Here, I'll give you one more tease that I think was great. I loved last year when one group drew Atlek-Nacha, the spider ancient one, and then their game became a, oh shoot, now we need to be getting clues and dealing with this VIP and dealing with Atlek-Nacha, who's spinning around doing Atlek-Nacha things. Like, okay. It's all about throwing more things onto the fire and seeing what shakes out. So I'm excited. I don't know if you can hear the stupid grin that's on my face, but I'll stop teasing this and just say that I'll just reiterate that I'm excited to have this at the convention for people to play this again. And with that, let's put this entry back in the collection. Too long out, and well, it'll gain a third digit. I've been your host, the Head Librarian Chad. If you want to get in contact with me about anything, feel free to reach out to me at therestrictedcollection@gmail.com. Otherwise, you can find me around Reddit and Discord as Head Librarian Chad. Thanks for listening.